Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. Now that we have finished the Amatyakaraka and the characteristics of the 7 planets as your career determinants in the first series, like all the 7 individual planets, we shall now take a deep dive into the Navamsha aspect, the D9 aspects of the career. Okay. How we shall deal with it is in these 3 rules format. Navamsha, like I told in the Nakshatra Pada series also, which is now premiering each day, is the internal nature of the person. What is their core characteristic, attitude, nature, which the planet is absorbing and bringing to you as your internal drive, as your internal nature. Essentially speaking, Navamsha to Natal would be something like, what is your internal self, Navamsha, and how do you bring it in the external world, to play with the external world, right? If you are studying the Nakshatra Pada series, you will get the appreciation of this better. Now we are dealing with the Jaimini system, which should be tallying with the other Nakshatra Pada system also, if you ask me. Because it's the same chart, it's the same planets sitting in the same houses in each divisional chart, yes? So you should not be getting different results simply because you are having different systems of analysis. So we'll see the characteristic attitudes that each planet absorbs, each one of these 7, especially the one which is your Amatyakaraka, and how that karma is playing out in your life, how it is affecting your career path, whatever your selection is or whatever you intend to do with your life. Number 2, natal or physical manifestation of career paths. Natal chart is whatever is a physical reality, what you will actually see and where you will see it actually playing out as your career, and what are the possibilities there. Later on, quite later on, Dashamsha also will see the D10 chart, the 10th divisional chart of your natal chart, which is the refinement of your natal 10th house matters, kind of. So we will use the same rules as Parashara system, as D1 to D10, and how that will play out. It has similar rules as D1 analysis, but that's later. Right now, we will deal with only Navamsha as the main path. So in this podcast, we shall check the Navamsha now and how the energies play off the profession in each of the 12 zodiac sign Navamsha first. We are just seeing the Navamsha characteristics, internal nature of the person and the drives there, and how those manifest in each of the qualities of the Navamsha. That's your internal nature. That's how you will carry it forward in your life. That's how Navamsha plays out later in life. But essentially, it is the internal nature of the person. For career, here are a couple of tips. Always check Saturn first, and first in natal, and where it has moved to Navamsha, both the house and the sign characteristics. And then D10 charts also. The movement of Saturn, where your feet go, Saturn is your feet, where your feet travels in this world is indicated by Saturn. Therefore, Saturn is the determinant of your career. Therefore, Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, 10th and 11th house. See the rhythm in this. The study of the science of Jyotish is always about study of movement of planets through time and space, how your soul has determined this lifetime it has to move. It's a movement, it's a continuous movement. All life is continuous slow movement. That is Saturn. Next, check Mars and Mercury in all of them, and relation to Saturn, of course, and their aspects. If you're checking the natal drive, see the Parashara system of aspecting the Mars 4th aspect, 8th aspect, Mercury direct or conjunct. Okay, see that in relation to Saturn, because we are talking only of career here. Let us keep it focused on career. With regard to career, Mars provides the drive to achieve whatever you want to achieve with your intellect, with your drive, with your desire. Mars makes the action possible. If Mars is weak or gets very emotional, for example, then it becomes moody. Mars in Cancer Navamsha. We shall see this later on. Also check Mercury as your intellectual capacity of processing the reality. Each one processes this reality through the lens of their Mercury strength, wherever it is. D1, D9 or D10 or any of the divisional charts. So as a determinant carrier, when we are talking of Amatyakaraka, we shall first see the Navamsha characteristics and the placement of Amatyakaraka within each of the Navamsha going forward. That will give you a brief of this. Okay, let's begin. Now let's talk about Libra Navamsha, the seventh one. Characteristic of Libra Navamsha is it always gives you a new perspective through life. It grows through life. Remember, nothing in astrology is pretty much fixed. You always are constantly growing consciousness, isn't it? In Libra Navamsha, the planet, whichever is sitting in there, in your Libra Navamsha, will always tend to give you a new perspective, a new vision of what's going on with respect to that planet characteristics. Libra Navamsha is what you want to become. It teaches us the value of that planet. Libra stands for your personal value system. What do you value? What do others value you like? Because Libra is a sign of others. How do people see you? So you have to check the signification, the house wherever it is placed in, wherever Libra is going. Libra Navamsha is fine, but it might go to the first house, it might go to the third house or 10th house. You see, use the house significations and planet sitting in there. Whatever planet is in Libra Navamsha is your journey. That's where you are going. It's a very open house. You cannot hide it, unlike the previous one. It's a house of business. All business partnership, all trading comes from Libra. So whichever planet is going to Libra, if they are soft, gentle planets like Jupiter, Moon, Venus, you will learn the value of wisdom, Jupiter, value of money, food, Moon, value of time through Saturn, value of spouse and money through Venus, right? You realize the signification of these planets in your life very easily, in a soft manner. Saturn makes it difficult. You learn over time. You learn the value of time over time. Imagine that. So if Sun goes into Libra, for example, your father might have problems related to money while you were growing up. This is how you learn the value of money in your life. And later on, you will take good care of your wealth. Whenever the Dasha of Libra will run, you will start getting choices in life. Libra is a sign of choice. That's why it is designated by or symbolized by scales. It's a choice point. Either your life will go up from there or it will go down from there. It doesn't matter, it's still 3D. You don't have to worry too much about the soul part. It's just a choice point. You can take different directions. It's a fork in the road. Libra Navamsha is also our environment. That's why you should choose your environment carefully whenever a planet is placed in Libra Navamsha for that planet. Okay? Mars, if it's placed here, you should check where you apply your logic. Is it the right environment? Everybody is not tuned logically. Yes? We have different lenses through which we evaluate our realities. That's why each individual is unique. That is why it is always said, choose the right people and the right environment. Libra is very specific about this. If you do these two things in Libra Navamsha, chances are you will go up in life if planets are placed there. And signification of the planet. Libra has a tendency to clean up things, just like the previous one, but in a nicer way. Virgo, remember, had restrictions. In Libra, there is no restriction. Libra Navamsha is also our society. What do we want to activate? How we need to socialize. If you want to make planets good here, you need to socialize. You need to go out to parties. Go for walks in marketplaces, malls. Just go for a walk and see how bright and good you will feel. If you have planets in Libra Navamsha, if you take a walk in the marketplace, you will find those qualities rise in you because you are now in the environment of Libra. You see what I'm saying? Libra Navamsha is also our personal outlook, our brand, personal brand image. How we will be branded is Libra Navamsha. Another point about Libra Navamsha, the planets in Libra Navamsha tend to get very picky, very choosy. You have a huge laundry list. If Venus is placed here, you have a laundry list of what qualities I want to see in my spouse. Too many choices, too picky, therefore end up not getting anything at all as a result. You are doing this, it's a choice. Their own undoing results in Libra Navamsha going bad. Again, it's not that something will land magically in my lap. Stop evaluating astrology like this. It just makes it look like a very crude science, when in fact it has got precision in it. If D1 10th Lord sits here, we are talking about Amatyakaraka, so let's talk careers now. If D1 10th Lord sits here, growth after marriage may happen, maybe surrounded by opposite sex at work, working in celebratory event management kind of roles. Jupiter here may even be teaching such disciplines like management of events. Growing food, maybe even bank manager, because it's a sign ruled by Venus and it's about money. Or maybe supporting wife, or karma with the wife, or giving judgment in the collective like judges. Working with large groups of people is Libra. Now let's look at some planet and placements and what it does here. You can apply the principle to Amatyakaraka also, but that we shall do little later in this podcast. Saturn here, less pay for work initially. You will have to learn the value of work later in life. Remember, Libra teaches us value of things. They might hold a very important portfolio where you can make decisions. Libra is a sign of decisions. Mercury here may be very interested in business. Mercury in Libra Navamsha makes for a very good businessman. Somebody who wants to get into partnerships, marketing. Someone who's a social butterfly and who really loves to go out to party and show off to everyone else. Mercury in Libra Navamsha does well actually. Rahu here, on the other hand, gets obsessed about spouse, may end up having multiple affairs, relationships, learning value and lessons in them, desire to make tons of money. Ketu will provide some detachment from spouse, having backup spouses as issues. They have a spiritual connotation of intimate relationships. Intimate relationships is very spiritual for Ketu in Libra. Not very attentive to money aspects. Moon here may get very picky about food, and emotional attachment to spouse is very high, emotionally triggered or insecure with money. Venus in Libra Navamsha, spouse does not trust you with money, makes you realize the value of spouse, the value of money through life, changes perspective on spouse, money and wealth. Remember, Libra gives you a new perspective always. Jupiter in Libra Navamsha may give the problem of obesity, especially if you have it in 5th house for stomach. When you have obesity issues, liver issues, maintaining food habits will get better over time. Learning the value of education will do everything to educate oneself. Sun here pertains to authority figures, fathers, bosses, father's health. So Libra will give you choices. Should I stay or should I go from here? Always gives you a new perspective about your father, about working with the government itself. It will make you realize that. Father may have money problems earlier on, but may get better through life. These are the generics. Now let's get into specifics of career and let's evaluate.
Saturn as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha. Core Amatyakaraka principles. Saturn. When Saturn is Amatyakaraka, the professional drive is rooted in discipline, responsibility, persistence, and long-term service. Saturn thrives in environments where structure, rules, and endurance are necessary. It provides the ability to manage scarcity, work through obstacles, and create stability in professions that demand patience and resilience. 2. Saturn's drive in Libra Navamsha. When Saturn as Amatyakaraka occupies Libra Navamsha, it enters its exaltation sign, merging discipline and structure with Libra's orientation toward balance, diplomacy, and social order. The professional drive becomes directed toward building fairness, justice, and equilibrium in systems, institutions, and relationships. Service through justice and fairness. Saturn's responsibility fuses with Libra's marketplace and social outlook, producing a drive to create fairness in contracts, negotiations, and collective institutions. Careers may revolve around law, policymaking, social work, or management of large communities where justice and order must prevail. Value of time and relationships. The individual learns the karmic value of partnerships, environment, and networks. Work motivation is deeply tied to society, branding, and the collective image. The person feels compelled to invest effort in balancing duty with harmony in professional associations. Strength of exaltation. Exalted Saturn expresses patience and authority gracefully, creating long-term recognition and leadership in public or collective domains. The professional drive becomes one of stabilizing chaotic environments and ensuring fair distribution of responsibilities and resources. Shadow expression. Overbearing focus on rules and fairness, becoming rigid or judgmental. Difficulty adapting when social relationships or negotiations fail to align with personal ethics. Possible reputation for being cold, calculating, or transactional in partnerships. 3. House placement modifiers. Ascendant context. Libra as 7th house, Aries ascendant. Saturn Amatyakaraka ties drive to partnerships, contracts, and negotiations. Careers may involve law, diplomacy, or marriage-linked duties. Libra as first for ascendant. Professional identity becomes deeply tied to justice, branding, and fairness. The individual carries the karmic weight of representing society's balance. Libra as 10th house, Capricorn ascendant. Public authority and recognition in governance, judiciary, or corporate leadership. The professional drive manifests in structured leadership that upholds justice and order. 4. Integrated expression Saturn as Amatyakaraka in Navamsha creates an internal drive to discipline society through fairness, justice, and balanced structures. The karmic task is to merge patience and authority with diplomacy and social equity. This placement produces leaders and administrators who build enduring institutions and reputations by aligning structure with fairness, often becoming anchors of stability in collective environments. Sun as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha. 1. Core Amatyakaraka principles. Sun. When the Sun is Amatyakaraka, the professional drive is rooted in authority, discipline, leadership, and ethical responsibility. It thrives in governance, management, visibility, and roles where respect and recognition are central. The Sun as AMK provides clarity and direction, seeking to guide others through moral example. Its shadow manifests as pride, ego-centered ambition, or overbearing control. 2. Sun's drive in Libra Navamsha. When the Sun as Amatyakaraka occupies Libra Navamsha, it becomes debilitated. The natural radiance of leadership meets Libra's diplomatic, socially adaptive environment, leading to struggles in balancing personal authority with the demands of collective harmony. The drive becomes tested through the need to share power, cooperate, and maintain fairness. Leadership through diplomacy. The Sun's desire for recognition is channeled into negotiation, partnerships, and collective branding. Professional roles lean toward law, politics, diplomacy, or institutional leadership, where compromise and image management are key. Challenge of weak authority. Debilitation creates self-doubt, making the native appear indecisive or overly concerned with others' approval. Recognition may feel delayed, with leadership questioned or undermined by stronger personalities. The individual may overcompensate by asserting ego or withdrawing when authority is challenged. Professions linked to public image. Careers may involve politics, law, event management, trade, or any work tied to collective platforms. The drive pushes towards social visibility, but with karmic lessons in humility, cooperation, and the shared use of power. Shadow expression struggles with identity in partnerships, appearing overshadowed or manipulated, seeking recognition through external validation rather than inner clarity. Risk of scandals or public criticism when leadership lacks firmness. 3. House placement modifiers. Ascendant context. Libra as 7th house, Aries ascendant. The Sun as Amatyakaraka ties professional drive to marriage, contracts, and alliances. Leadership lessons come through partnerships and diplomacy. Libra as 1st house, Libra ascendant. Career identity strongly tied to public image and branding. The individual may project authority but struggles with self-confidence and leadership. Libra as 10th house, Capricorn ascendant. Public authority may be challenged. Recognition comes through negotiation, law, or social engagement, but requires humility and balance in leadership. 4. Integrated expression sun as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha creates an internal drive to lead through cooperation, diplomacy, and fairness. The karmic task is to temper ego with humility and to balance personal recognition with collective harmony. This placement produces leaders, negotiators, and public figures who succeed when they embrace shared responsibility and build authority through fairness rather than dominance. Mercury as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha. 1. Core Amatyakaraka principles. Mercury. When Mercury is Amatyakaraka, the professional drive is rooted in intellect, adaptability, communication, and analytical reasoning. It thrives in environments requiring trade, negotiation, technical skills, writing, and data management. Its drive expresses itself through curiosity, problem solving, and the ability to connect people, ideas, and systems. The shadow side is restlessness, indecision, and manipulative speech. 2. Mercury's drive in Libra Navamsha. When Mercury as Amatyakaraka occupies Libra Navamsha, intellect and communication are filtered through Libra's social, diplomatic, and marketplace orientation. Professional drive becomes tied to negotiation, mediation, and creating balance in trade, law, or communication networks. Communication through diplomacy. Mercury's natural curiosity and logic are expressed with charm and balance. The individual becomes skilled in mediation, business partnerships, branding, or public relations. The drive is to use intellect to maintain fairness, create agreements, and build alliances. Struggle with indecision. Libra's constant weighing of options clashes with Mercury's need for clear analysis. The professional may overthink or hesitate, fearing wrong choices. The shadow emerges as gossip, superficial communication, or manipulative deal-making. Professions rooted in trade and dialogue. Likely careers include law, commerce, media, publishing, diplomacy, marketing, or technology-driven platforms where dialogue and agreements are central. Mercury in Libra thrives in professions where intellect meets collective interaction. Shadow expression, over-adaptation in speech, saying what others want to hear, losing personal authenticity. Paralysis through indecision, avoiding responsibility in choices. Use of cunning or manipulation in negotiations. Hammer 3. House placement modifiers, ascendant context. Libra as 7th house, Aries ascendant. Mercury Amatyakaraka pushes professional drive into negotiations, trade, and marriage contracts. Careers may involve law, business partnerships, or consultancy. Libra as 1st house, Libra ascendant. Identity is intellectual and socially oriented. The professional image is built on charm, communication, and the ability to mediate in collective spaces. Libra as 10th house, Capricorn ascendant. Mercury here channels drive into governance, communication leadership, or media public platforms. Recognition comes through intellectual authority and balanced problem solving. Hammer 4. Integrated expression. Mercury as Amatyakaraka in Libra, Navamsha creates an internal drive to connect, negotiate, and refine communication in collective and professional settings. The karmic task is to balance Mercury's sharp intellect with Libra's need for fairness and harmony. This placement produces mediators, advisors, and communicators who succeed when they apply intellect to building trust and cooperation rather than overanalysis or manipulation. Venus as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha. 1. Core Amatyakaraka principles, Venus. When Venus is Amatyakaraka, the professional drive is rooted in refinement, aesthetics, relationships, and the pursuit of wealth and harmony. It thrives in professions connected to art, beauty, diplomacy, finance, luxury, and human connection. Its shadow can show indulgence, vanity, or dependence on external validation. 2. Venus's drive in Libra Navamsha. When Venus as Amatyakaraka occupies Libra Navamsha, it rests in its own sign and expresses its full strength. Professional drive becomes tied to creating balance, beauty, and prosperity through relationships, partnerships, and collective branding. Harmony through partnership. Venus directs energy into forming alliances and networks. The inner drive is to succeed by fostering cooperation, elegance, and mutual benefit. Careers are fueled by the ability to connect people, cultivate luxury, and refine environments. Charm with accountability. Venus in its own sign combines grace with fairness. The professional identity becomes naturally attractive, persuasive, and skilled in negotiations. Recognition often comes through diplomacy, financial dealings, or artistic refinement. Professions rooted in beauty and balance. Strong inclination toward professions in diplomacy, finance, fashion, event management, art, design, real estate, or business partnerships. Careers often involve branding, public image, and social environments. Shadow expression, overfocus on appearances, losing substance in professional roles. Indecision in relationships and business partnerships. Dependency on others for validation, weakening independence. Hammer 3. House placement modifiers, ascendant context. Libra as 7th house, Aries ascendant. Venus Amatyakaraka emphasizes partnerships, contracts, and business negotiations. The professional drive is rooted in cooperation and shared success. Libra as 1st house, Libra ascendant. The professional image is Venusian, charming, refined, and socially influential. Career paths often highlight luxury, diplomacy, or creative leadership. Libra as 10th house, Capricorn ascendant. Venus Amatyakaraka ties public career to arts, finance, or diplomacy. Recognition comes through elegance, social networking, and cooperative leadership. 4. Integrated expression. Venus as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha creates an internal drive to refine society through balance, beauty, and prosperity. The karmic task is to align personal desires with collective fairness, learning to use charm and refinement as tools for harmony rather than indulgence. This placement produces diplomats, financiers, artists, and mediators who excel by creating unity, elegance, and wealth in collective environments. Mars as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha. 1. Core Amatyakaraka principles. When Mars is Amatyakaraka, the professional drive is rooted in initiative, courage, discipline, and action. It thrives in environments requiring decisiveness, technical ability, leadership in conflict, and strategic problem solving. Its shadow can emerge as aggression, impatience, or reckless competitiveness. 2. Mars's drive in Libra Navamsha. When Mars as Amatyakaraka occupies Libra Navamsha, its fiery initiative fuses with Libra's social, diplomatic, and marketplace orientation. The drive is to act decisively in negotiations, partnerships, and collective spaces, but with an undertone of conflict between Mars's directness and Libra's balancing tendencies. Action through diplomacy and partnerships. Mars' assertive energy is channeled into contracts, alliances, and trade. The internal drive is to win through negotiation, strategy, or competitive business dealings. Careers may involve law, arbitration, sales, or management of collective projects. Struggle of aggression versus harmony. Mars' desire for decisive action can clash with Libra's demand for fairness and diplomacy. This creates tension, either becoming overly aggressive in negotiations or losing momentum through overconsideration of others. Professions rooted in competitive balance. Mars in Libra directs the professional drive toward law, politics, sports management, conflict resolution, military diplomacy, or corporate strategy. It also thrives in event management or industries where competition is balanced by social presentation. Shadow expression. Over-assertion in relationships, turning partnerships into battlegrounds. Manipulative competition in business or public roles. Frustration from delays or compromises, leading to hidden resentment. 3. House placement modifiers. Ascendant context. Libra as 7th house, Aries ascendant. Mars Amatyakaraka makes partnerships competitive, driving careers into law, contracts, or negotiation-based professions. Strong karma in marriage business alliances. Libra as 1st house, Libra ascendant. Professional identity becomes driven, bold, and strategic in public dealings. Recognition comes through assertiveness in collective or social environments. Libra as 10th house, Capricorn ascendant. Strong public drive for authority, leadership, and competitive success in law, government, or corporate strategy. Balance between aggression and diplomacy is key. 4. Integrated expression. Mars as Amatyakaraka in Libra. Navamsha creates an internal drive to assert authority in collective environments through strategy, negotiation, and competitive balance. The karmic task is to temper Mars's raw aggression with Libra's diplomacy, learning to act decisively without disrupting harmony. This placement produces warriors of diplomacy, leaders, strategists, and negotiators who thrive when action is aligned with fairness and collective order. Jupiter as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha. 1. Core Amatyakaraka principles. Jupiter. When Jupiter is Amatyakaraka, the professional drive is rooted in wisdom, teaching, law, policymaking, and ethical guidance. It thrives in professions tied to education, justice, governance, spirituality, and advisory roles. Its motivation is to guide others with knowledge and expand collective well-being. The shadow can appear as overconfidence, excessive moralizing, or clinging to theoretical ideals without practical grounding. 2. Jupiter's drive in Libra Navamsha. When Jupiter as Amatyakaraka occupies Libra Navamsha, expansive wisdom fuses with Libra's social, diplomatic, and balance-seeking qualities. The professional drive becomes oriented toward creating justice, fairness, and harmony in collective systems, often through negotiation and ethical leadership. Wisdom through diplomacy and fairness. Jupiter's natural authority aligns with Libra's concern for justice, producing a drive to expand knowledge into law, social contracts, or institutional guidance. The individual feels compelled to mediate disputes, advise governments or corporations, and refine systems for the greater good. Challenge of idealism versus compromise. Jupiter seeks truth and higher principles, while Libra demands balance and negotiation. This can cause frustration when ideals must be diluted for diplomacy, or when fairness is pursued at the expense of clear moral direction. Professions rooted in justice and guidance. Jupiter in Libra directs the drive toward law, judiciary, academia, diplomacy, cultural institutions, or advisory roles. It thrives where wisdom must be applied to maintain social balance, such as policy making, education reform, or international negotiations. Shadow expression, becoming overly idealistic in negotiations, refusing compromise. Using wisdom as a facade for influence, creating mistrust in advisory roles. Struggles with consistency when principles clash with social or political expectations. Shadow 3. House placement modifiers, ascendant context. Libra as 7th house, Aries ascendant. Jupiter Amatyakaraka drives professional life into partnerships, contracts, and law. Success often comes through teaching, advisory, or negotiation roles. Libra as 1st house, Libra ascendant. Professional identity tied to justice, fairness, and social order. Recognition arises through teaching, cultural leadership, or advisory positions. Libra as 10th house, Capricorn ascendant. Strong public authority, law, education, or diplomacy. Career path is focused on creating balance within institutions and governance. Integrated expression Jupiter as Amatyakaraka in Libra Navamsha creates an internal drive to harmonize wisdom with fairness, serving as a teacher, advisor, or lawmaker for society. The karmic task is to balance expansive ideals with the practical need for compromise. This placement produces guides, judges, and counselors whose authority rests on blending higher knowledge with diplomacy, bringing justice and order to collective life. Rahu and Ketu influences on Amatyakaraka planets in Libra Navamsha. Rahu influence in Libra Navamsha. Rahu intensifies the social, diplomatic, and relationship-oriented qualities, but often twists them toward manipulation, image consciousness, and scandal. The professional drive becomes tied to appearances, charm, and social validation, but with hidden agendas beneath. Creates manipulative diplomacy, appearing fair and cooperative while pursuing self-interest. Accusations of hypocrisy, dishonesty, or exploitation of relationships and partnerships frequently arise. Adds cunning charisma. Rahu amplifies Libra's social charm and persuasive skills but bends them toward gossip, deceptive negotiations, or misuse of aesthetics in relationships. Weakens accountability, projects fairness outwardly but avoids responsibility when partnerships fail. In leadership teaching roles, Sun, Jupiter, Amatyakaraka, Rahu brings suspicion about motives, suggesting leadership is used for vanity or political image rather than justice. In communicative relationship roles, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Amatyakaraka, Rahu leads to scandals in romance, partnerships, or diplomacy, misuse of charm for influence. Ketu influence. In Libra Navamsha, Ketu detaches from relationships, beauty, and fairness, creating aloofness in diplomacy and partnerships. The professional persona may seem disinterested, inconsistent, or withdrawn in social and collective roles. Produces withdrawal from partnership duties, reluctance to engage in negotiation, teamwork, or diplomacy. Creates disconnection between inner intent and outer social role. The person may reject the need for appearances or relationships. With Moon, Mercury, or Venus as Amatyakaraka, Ketu generates detachment in communication, nurturing, or love. making the individual appear cold or uninterested in partnerships. With Sun or Jupiter as Amatyakaraka, Ketu produces a detached leader or advisor, seemingly uninspiring or inconsistent in upholding social justice. May lead to stagnation in career tied to image or partnerships, opportunities lost due to indifference to diplomacy or social harmony. Reputation often carries the tag of aloofness, lack of charm, or failure to maintain cooperative bonds. Planet-specific Rahu-Ketu playouts in Libra Navamsha, Saturn plus Rahu, manipulative disciplinarian and social collective roles, blamed for oppressive rules masked as fairness. Saturn plus Ketu withdraws from responsibility in partnerships, appears rigid, cold, or uncaring in collective negotiations. Mercury plus Rahu, cunning negotiator, thrives on gossip, social manipulation, or deceptive contracts, career tied to political speechcraft or media scandals. Mercury plus Ketu, silent or withdrawn in negotiations, blamed for lack of communication, poor clarity, or avoidance of responsibility in agreements. Mars plus Rahu, aggressive negotiator, turning partnerships into battlefields, scandals from manipulative competitiveness in law, business, or politics. Mars plus Ketu, passive-aggressive in alliances, avoids direct confrontation, blamed for negligence or failure to defend agreements. Moon plus Rahu, emotional manipulation in relationships, sympathy-seeking leader, creating instability or scandal in public or diplomatic roles. Moon plus Q, emotionally absent in partnerships, cold or withdrawn, blamed for neglecting relational or public duties. Venus plus Rahu, scandals in love, wealth, or social branding, misuse of charm or luxury for manipulation and control. Venus plus Ketu, detachment in relationships, neglect of harmony, blame for broken unions, or disinterest in aesthetics/social roles. Jupiter plus Rahu, pseudo-guru in diplomacy, manipulates collective fairness for influence, blamed for misleading guidance in law or policy. Jupiter plus Ketu, withdrawn advisor, lacks presence in negotiations, appears uninspiring or inconsistent despite knowledge. Sun plus Rahu, scandalized authority figure, manipulates leadership for vanity or political image, accused of corruption or hypocrisy. Sun plus Ketu, detached, aloof leader, lacks charisma or engagement in collective roles, blamed for poor or uninspiring leadership.